Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Rejuvenating text 22, text 23, text 24 and text 25 of chapter 13. Dhritarashtra quits home of first convocation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 22. Andhaha puraiva vadhiro manda prajashacha sampratam vishirna danto mandagniha saragaha kafamudavahan. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your teeth are loose. Your liver is defective and you are coughing up mucus. Your memory is shortened and your intelligence is disturbed. The symptoms of old age, which had already developed in Dhritarashtra, were all one after another pointed out to him as warning that death was nearing very quickly, and still he was foolishly carefree about his future. The signs pointed out by Vidur in the body of Dhritarashtra were signs of apakshaya, or dwindling of the material body before the last stroke of death. The body is born, it develops, stays, creates other bodies, dwindles and then vanishes. But foolish men want to make a permanent settlement of the perishable body and think that their estate, children, society, country, etc. will give them protection. With such foolish ideas, they become overtaken by such temporary engagements and forget altogether that they must give up this temporary body and take a new one, again to arrange for another term of society, friendship and love, again to perish ultimately. They forget their permanent identity and become foolishly active for impermanent occupations, forgetting altogether their prime duty. Saints and sages like Vidur approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation, but they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society, and almost all of them refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints, although they welcome show bottle sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses. Vidur was not a sadhu to satisfy the ill-gotten sentiment of Dhritarashtra. He was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and how one can save oneself from such catastrophes. Text 23. Aho mahiyasi jantor jivitasha yatha bhavan bhima pavarjitam pindama datte gruha palavato. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Bhim. A sadhu should never flatter kings or rich men to live comfortably at their cost. A sadhu is to speak to the householders about the naked truth of life so that one may come to their senses about the precarious life in material existence. Dhritarashtra is a typical example of an attached old man in household life. He had become a pauper in the true sense, yet he wanted to live comfortably in the house of the Pandavas, of whom Bhim especially is mentioned because personally he killed two prominent sons of Dhritarashtra, namely Duryodhan and Dushasan. These two sons were very much dear to him for their notorious and nefarious activities, and Bhim is particularly pointed out because he killed these two pet sons. Why was Dhritarashtra living there at the house of the Pandavas? Because he wanted to continue his life comfortably even at the risk of all humiliation. Vidur therefore was astonished how powerful is the urge to continue life. This sense of continuing one's life indicates that a living being is eternally a living entity and does not want to change his bodily habitation. The foolish man does not know that a particular term of bodily existence is awarded to him to undergo a term of imprisonment, and the human body is awarded after many births and deaths as a chance for self-realization to go back home, back to Godhead. But persons like Dhritarashtra try to make plans to live there in a comfortable position with profit and interest, for they do not see things as they are. Dhritarashtra is blind and continues to hope to live comfortably in the midst of all kinds of reverses of life. A sadhu like Vidur is meant to awaken such blind persons and thus help them go back to Godhead where life is eternal. Once going there, no one wants to come back to this material world of miseries. We can just imagine how responsible a task is entrusted to a sadhu like Mahatma Vidur. Text 24. Agnir nisrushto dattashcha garo darashcha dushitaha hrutam kshetram dhanam yesham tada dat taira subhiha kiyat. There is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you tried to kill by arson and poisoning. You also insulted one of their wives and usurped their kingdom and wealth. The system of Varnashrama religion sets aside a part of one's life completely for the purpose of self-realization and attainment of salvation in the human form of life. That is a routine division of life, but persons like Dhritarashtra, even at their very ripened age, wants to stay home, even in a degraded condition of accepting charity from enemies. Vidur pointed this out to Dhritarashtra and impressed upon him that it was better to die like his sons than accept such humiliating charity. 5,000 years ago there was one Dhritarashtra, but at the present moment there are Dhritarashtras in every home. Politicians especially do not retire from political activities unless they are dragged by the cruel hand of death or killed by some opposing element. To stick to family life to the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation, and there is an absolute need for the Viduras to educate such Dhritarashtras even at the present moment. Text 25. Tasyapi tava deho ayam kripanasya jiji vishoha paretya nicha chato jirano jaraya vasasi eva. Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live, even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment. The words Kripanasya, Jiji, Vishoha are significant. There are two classes of men. One is called the Kripana and the other is called the Brahmana. The Kripana or the miserly man has no estimation of his material body, but the Brahman has a true estimation of himself and the material body. The Kripana, having a wrong estimation of his material body, wants to enjoy sense gratification with his utmost strength, and even in old age he wants to become a young man by medical treatment or otherwise. Dhritarashtra is addressed herein as a Kripana because without any estimation of his material body he wants to live at any cost. Vidur is trying to open his eyes to see that he cannot live more than his term and that he must prepare for death. Since death is inevitable, why should he accept such a humiliating position for living? It is better to take the right path, even at the risk of death. Human life is meant for finishing all kinds of miseries of material existence, and life should be so regulated that one can achieve the desired goal. Dhritarashtra, due to his wrong conception of life, had already spoiled 80% of his achieved energy. So it behooved him to utilize the remaining days of his miserly life for the ultimate good. Such a life is called miserly because one cannot properly utilize the assets of the human form of life. Only by good luck does such a miserly man meet a self-realized soul like Vidur, and by his instruction gets rid of the nescience of material existence. Hare Krishna.